Hello students. Uh, Yesterday we have seen a number of conceptual problems that are related to the topic of semiconductor devices. So as in case of semiconductor devices, we have studied about insulator, conductor and semiconductor, what was their property, and also what is the advantage of semiconductor over other things, means why the field of semiconductor is so broad. We are now these times we are using all the digital field that are based on the semiconductor. Even we have made ledger on the semiconductor devices. So why these types of devices are very efficient, and what is the reason to use them, whether we had already the devices of which was using the conductor. So besides the conductor we need something, we needed something that can fulfill our need according to our requirement. Like in case of conductor, as there were a large, its conductivity was very high, and there if you know or you want a small current of voltage according to your need, then we cannot use it at that time. So semiconductor devices fulfill all these desires, means as human desires are beyond the limit, and that limit is also actually fulfilled by semiconductor. So also that limit is fulfilled by the semiconductor. So that's why we use these devices. So first thing that we have made by using semiconductor, that was the first p-type and n-type material. As the pure semiconductor was not so efficient, reason was that fourth group has 4 electron in their valence shell, clear, and that 4 electrons can be withdrawn from that atom, and also there can be addition of 4 electrons to complete the octant of the atom to make it in the stable condition. So as you know that the removal of 4 electrons, that is also very difficult, and also to add the 4 electron in that atom, that is also difficult. So the basic property that is possessed by the fourth group elements, that are all different. Like carbon prefer the covalent bonding, means sharing of electrons to complete its octant, and due to that nature actually size of carbon is very small. So that's why it's so catenation property, always it so covalent bonding. But besides carbon, as you see the examples of germanium and silicon. So in case of germanium and silicon, as their sizes are greater than the carbon, and they are also covalent bonding is not that type of efficient than as it was in carbon. Like carbon is showing catenation property. It makes single bond, double bond, triple bond, means also there is possibility of carbon bond. So we have a number of compounds using carbon. So that is also, you know, the organic chemistry, a branch of chemistry that is dependent on that. So silicon and germanium have some different properties than carbon, and that property is this. They shows the semiconductor behavior, means here the removal of electron is easy. So at least means if at room temperature actually they behaves like the insulator, means it is not easy to get an electron from the silicon and germanium. So that's why at room temperature that are that behaves like the simple semiconductor insulator. But if we add or if we increase, likely suppose that we are increasing the temperature, then on increasing the temperature actually we are providing heat energy to the system, and that heat energy is used to break their covalent bonding, or to make the removal of electrons. So there we can withdraw some electrons from the surface, and that electrons can be help in the flow of current. But that are also not sufficient. To make them sufficient, we have added 2 types of impurities in that. First is third group impurities, and second is fifth group impurities, clear. So third group impurity was as the trivalent atoms. So as there are only 3 electrons in their outer shell, so all three electrons makes the covalent bonding with the three electrons of germanium, and the one electron that is free, and that means to complete its covalent bond it needs a electron. So there is a deficiency or vacancy of electron that is created, and that is known as hole. So there is the creation of hole in third when we add trivalent atoms to the fourth group elements. And also when we add pentavalent atoms in the fourth group element, then in that case 4 electrons of that pentavalent atom that makes covalent bonding with the 4 electrons of germanium, but 1 electron is free, that is loosely attached to the nucleus of the fourth group element. And if it will get a very small energy from outside, or simple if we supply some voltage or other things, we can supply light energy, heat energy and other things, so it can be free, and that can help in the conduction. So there is a large number of the production of electrons. So as we are seeing that due to with the help of mixing processes, we are now able to generate or create or simple produce the charges that are as we have two types of charges in this case, positive charge and negative charges. So that's why in this manner, as we have seen that in case of conductor we are only one type of charge, negative charges, but here we have two types of charges. So obviously we can use it in number of applications. And also when we add to one p type and n type material, like positive negative things we are joining to each other, so there is a formation of depletion region, and to remove that depletion region we do the biasing process. All these things you have already studied. Here only I'm giving you some brief about that, or I just want to make some revisions on that also. And also if you do the biasing process, means we add some external source to remove the depletion region, so that we can get the flow of current through the circuit. So we can do it by two methods. First, if we add P to positive of battery and to negative of battery, then that is called forward biasing. And if we add P to negative of battery and to positive of battery, then we can call it reverse biasing. So there are two types of biasing, forward and reverse. So here the question regarding on that, after that I will tell you next things. And so in case of reverse bias, so as we have seen that in case of forward bias different types of characteristics, and in case of reverse bias different types of characteristics. As in case of forward bias, this external source always oppose the internal source or internal field. So that's why due to its opposition, after some time we get a large current in the circuit easily. So that's why in case of forward bias there is a large current that is obtained in the circuit. But in case of reverse bias, as it supports the internal field strength that is already opposing force, and the external field also is supporting that. So after a certain time we get a breakdown condition, and after that we get large amount of current. So that's why there are two different types of characteristics we have obtained in case of forward and reverse. So there are questions regarding on that. So let's see first question. I will discuss rest of the things later. So question is that how reverse current suddenly increase at the breakdown voltage in case of Zener diode. So as you have seen the case of Zener diode, that is a special purpose diode, I have taught you already. So in case of Zener diode, we the impurity doping concentration, mixing concentration is very high. So if we increase the doping concentration of trivalent or pentavalent atoms, then the depletion region width is very narrow. In that case, means in narrow space there are a large number of atoms that are situated. So obviously if there is, the question is simply that at the breakdown voltage why current is suddenly increases. So in this case, as suppose that this is our Zener diode, this is P, this is N type. So in this case we add it in reverse bias, then P is negative, this is positive. You can also add it in forward bias, but that time it will give just like characteristic just like the forward bias, only there is it will give large current at some small voltage. So there is no need to make such types of devices, or need to know use we can also get that with the help of normal PN junction diode. So in reverse bias, as it gives some different characteristics, that's why we usually use it in reverse bias. So there is depletion region. Already at this depletion region, as there are acceptor ions that are here, and here the donor ions that are here. So you can say here negative, here positive charges are here. Clear? So as you are seeing that this field is supporting this internal field, as this field is opposing from here, this oppose the flow of holes, from here this oppose the flow of electron. So that's why in the circuit we do we get no current in starting. But in case of actually Zener diode, as this depletion region is already very narrow, it means that this field strength is already very high. Clear? And also this voltage is supporting this voltage. So if the field strength that will be quite high, then you know that if electric field strength is high, then in that case that electric field is sufficient to attract the valence electron of the host atom in p side, and to accelerate them into the L side. Means this strength, this electric strength, it attracts the valence electrons of the p types atom, and it accelerate it into the n type. So suddenly there is the creation of large number of charged particles, means large number of charged particles that are attracting and accelerating towards the n side. So that's why circuit is completed, and we suddenly get a large reverse current in case of Zener diode. So the reason is that in the case of Zener diode, already the barrier potential that is very high, and if we apply some external source to it, then due to this source, this potential is again becomes high, and due to high potential you can say that electric strength is also high. So if electric strength is high, then this electric strength is sufficient to cause the production of electrons from the host atom on p side, and that can accelerate the these electrons to the n side. So that's why due to the production of large number of charges, suddenly the current in this case at critical voltage it increases suddenly. Clear? I think the region is clear. Actually this region is also the case of in the case of PN junction diode, but in case of PN junction diode, you know that the doping is light in as comparison to Zener diode. So that's why if doping is high, then we can say that here the potential is not as enough to absorb. Means if we continuously increase this external potential, then this external potential will increase the value of field strength of here, and some of the electrons that can be attracted from this p side, and that can accelerate to n side. So continuously we are getting some of the current at after the critical voltage or breakdown potential. So as in case of normal PN junction diode, we obtain avalanche breakdown. So this curve is obtained like this. Continually current is increasing with the increasing voltage. But in case of Zener, we obtain this curve like this. Means after a certain voltage, the current becomes constant. So this is the difference. Reason is that due to doping, the potential of here is high and low, as that depends on the doping process. So I think the reason behind the sudden increase in current, that is clear to you. Still, while I was teaching to you that chapter, then at that time also I have discussed it by the help of number of methods, by the help of potential barrier, by the help of resistivity, by the help of conductivity, and also with the help of this electric field strength, and one other thing, collision of electrons with the atoms. I have already explained it by the number of methods, so I think there is no confusion regarding to that, why we get breakdown in the case of Zener diode or in case of normal PN junction diode. So I think guys that is clear to you. So let's see next question. So second question is that in VI characteristics of a PN junction diode, why is the current under reverse bias almost independent of the applied voltage below critical voltage, or you can say that this is breakdown voltage. So as this is the VI characteristics of the normal PN junction diode in case of reverse bias. So as you are seeing that below the critical, suppose this is breakdown voltage, below the critical voltage the current is very low, and you can say that it is almost independent of the increase in potential. So what is the reason behind this? We have to explain it. Clear? So as you know that in case of reverse bias, in starting as there is no flow of majority charge carriers due to applied field. So let's see them actually. Suppose this is our PN junction diode, this is P side, this is N side, and in P side as you know that there is the acceptor atoms, there is acceptor ions, there is donor ions, and there is donor atoms. Electrons are attached to it, holes are attached to it. Now we add this side with N side of battery, and this is P side of battery. Clear? So in this case, as you have seen that already, this potential opposes this and this is opposing this, and already this potential is supporting this thing. So if this potential is supporting this potential, internal potential, then definitely it will this opposition power that will be increased with the increase in potential. So if opposition in increase, if these majority charge carriers are not crossing the junction, they are not recombining, so there is no flow of electrons due to them. Only as you know that in case of p types there are some electrons that are in minority carriers, and in n type there are some holes that are in minority. So these electrons and holes, actually for these minority carriers, this applied electric field acts as the forward bias. So this this negative repel it, this positive will repel it. So due to that they will be able to cross the junction and they will recombine and produce a current through its other circuit. So that's why only we get some of the current due to minority carriers, and you know that the minority concentration in case of P and N both, that is very low in case of PN junction also. That's why if we see the case of minority carriers, so if we plot the graph, then in starting when the current is flowing due to minority carriers below the critical voltage or breakdown potential, that is very small. So we can say that this is almost independent of the voltage. Voltage is increasing in a huge amount, but current is not increasing. So that's why we can say that it is almost independent due to the flow of minority carriers, and number of minority carriers are already very low. So that's why this is the reason behind it. So as already you know this, actually with the help of junction property, there can be a number of questions that can be asked to you in the different manners, and there can be a number of 100,000 questions can be made with the dependent on these junction properties. So I think you should be concentrate on the fundamental, on the basic things behind the junction properties and why these properties are developed, and if they are developed, then what is their effect, and what is the things which can affect it, and also to which things it can affect. So you should know all these things. That will help you to understand everything about the questions. So there can be also a number of conceptual problems. So let's see some more conceptual problems based on these topics. So the next question is related to energy band diagram. As in case of energy, we can also actually explain metals, semiconductor, insulator with the help of number of electrons, with the help of conductivity, with the help of resistivity, and also with the help of energy band diagram. According to that, the lower energy levels, the ground energy level, that are denoted by the valence band, and the above higher energy level that are vacant, that are known as conduction band. So like suppose that if you take the example of sodium, so you can make the electronic configuration of it. So we obtain 1s2, 2s2, 2 plus 6 and 3s1. Clear? So this is the normal electronic configuration of sodium, and here we can also write, suppose 2 4s 3p and so on. These are so many number of levels also. So for the sodium, this is called the valence cell, or this electron is known as valence electron. So this cell is can be denoted with the help of an energy band, and that is the energy of s level. So this is known as valence band. Clear? Basically, actually band of energy that is obtained in case of molecules, but in case of atom that can be also obtained. And also, as these energy levels that are vacant, so these are known as conduction band. Clear? And you know that between any two levels, as according to Bohr model, electrons cannot revolve in every possible circular orbits, only in those circular orbits for which the angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So obviously there will be some gap between conduction band and valence band. So as you know, the with the help of Bohr model easily, there will be some forbidden gap that will be between two energy levels. So or two orbit that in which electron is revolving. So that energy level is known as forbidden band gap, in case of if you are saying it like the band with the help of band diagram. So between valence cell or in excited level, that is known as conduction band in case of solids. So between conduction band and valence band there is a gap that is known as forbidden energy gap. So this is the band picture of the solids. With the help of it we can also categorize conductor, semiconductor and insulator. So in case of insulator, this energy band gap that is quite high. And first one thing is more, how the conduction process is possible. So as you know that if we provide energy from outside to this electron, so this electron gets energy and it can go into this level, it can go into this excited level. And if it will excite to these excited levels, then after 10 power minus 8 second, or if this is not metastable state, then after 10 power minus 8 second it will spontaneously decay to its valence electron. And obviously if it will decay, then it will emit this amount of energy, and that amount of energy appeared as the electrical energy. This is the basic process of the energy production easily. So the region is simple. In case of solids we explain it that the conduction is possible when this electron is excited to conduct other excited states, or simple in other word, in this way you can say that if electron jumps from valence electron to conduction band, then there is the possibility of conduction. So if there is easily the jumping process of valence to conduction, then that is known as means there its conductivity is very high. Means on the application of a small amount, if valence electron will jump into the conduction band, then conduction is very easily obtained. So you can say that this is the property of conductor, as you know that. So in case of conductor, the energy band gap between conduction and valence band, that is very small. Clear? And sometimes for a good conductor they are overlapped on each other. So when we add only small amount of energy, they can even cross this simple junction. And in case of insulator, this forbidden energy band gap, this is quite high. This is nearly greater than the 5 electron volt. So this amount of energy is quite high. So when we add such amount of energy, then there will be the conduction of current that will occur. So obviously you know that if we are using or wasting this fuel and we are getting very few current, then that is that things that atoms are that simple elements are not that useful for us in the sense of conduction. So we don't use such types of, and that types of things are known as you know that insulator. Third is that if the conduction band that is below to it, but a forbidden energy gap that is below the less than 8 but greater than the in case of conductor, so that is known as semiconductor. Like for germanium, this is equal to 0.7 electron volt. For silicon it is 1.1 electron volt. So as you are seeing that these are not very great energy or very large energy, so we can provide this energy easily. So in case of semiconductor there is not a very great conduction, but at sufficient conduction is there that can be used in various manners. So I think as a brief, there's details about the band picture of solid that is clear to you. So I can just now explain questions we have that is dependent on this question. So first question is that strontium and silicon both belong to fourth group elements, but strontium is a metal whereas silicon is a semiconductor. Why? So as I told you earlier that fourth group elements shows different types of property that is due to their size variation. Like in case of carbon, its size is very small, so that's why it shows the catenation property. It may prefer covalent bonding, so that is not used in the conduction process. Clear? While silicon and germanium, that are we have like the semiconductor, means here on the addition of p and n type pentavalent trivalent atoms, we can make them to get sufficient current and voltage through it. But strontium, that is already a large amount of current because its size is very high, so we can easily remove the electrons from this. So this, due to this, it is also metal. But in case of if you want to explain it with the help of band picture, you can also explain it. So as in case of strontium, the energy band gap, that is very small, very low, means they are overlapped, actually nearly overlapped on each other. So obviously to jump an electron from this to this, it will need only small amount of energy. So this is the characteristic of metal. So that's why strontium, you can say that it acts as like the metal. But as in case of silicon, this energy gap is 1.1 electron volt. So electron cannot easily jump from valence to conduction band until we will apply some external energy, means sufficient external energy equal or greater than this to the system. So this is act like the semiconductor material. Clear? So with the help of band picture, you can easily explain why some metals are conductor, why some metals are semiconductor, why some elements are metals or conductor, why some elements are semiconductor, and why some elements are that are behaves like the insulator. So for insulator, the energy band gap or forbidden band gap, that is very great, very large. In case of conductor, it will be very small. And if there will be the value between that two range, then that is the case of semiconductor. Easily you can understand this and you can explain it. So next question is that why diamond behave like an insulator? So as I have just told you, in case of insulator, the forbidden band gap, that is band gap energy, is very high. So if you see the band gap energy of diamond, then it obtained nearly 5.5 electron volt. So as this amount of energy is very large, so that's why here a large amount of energy is needed for the conduction. So that's why it naturally at ordinary temperature it behaves like an insulator. Clear? Next question is that is Ohm's law obeyed in semiconductor or not? It's a very good question actually. As you have seen the case of Ohm's law in case of conductor. Clear? So as in case of semiconductor, is it followed or not? So most of the students can answer yes, it will be followed, but no, actually Ohm's law followed only in case of semiconductor only for small electric field. That electric field can have values 10.6 per meter. So if the value of applied electric field is less than this value, then there it will follow Ohm's law. And if it will exceed this value 10.6 volt per meter, then it will not obey the Ohm's law. As in case of semiconductor, you have seen that at a sufficient voltage or sufficient applied voltage, the current becomes almost constant, means current becomes almost independent of the applied voltage. So if it will be independent of the applied voltage, then there will be no linear relationship between voltage and current, and it will not follow the Ohm's law. So at greater voltage, it will not, or greater application of applied field, it will not follow the Ohm's law. So mostly semiconductor don't follow the Ohm's law, and only semiconductor will follow Ohm's law, will obey Ohm's law when the applied electric field that will be below to this value, means very low very low electric field, it will be it will follow. Clear? So this is the case of different cases that are used to explain the conceptual problems regarding to semiconductor devices. As I have told you, a number of questions here, still there are a number of questions that can be asked, as I told you, on the behalf of, on the basis of these these fundamentals. There can be a number of questions, because actually fundamental things and conceptual problems needed to with you, that how much you are clear about the concepts and basic things. If I will change questions direction, then are you able to answer it or not? So that is the motive of this, to test your conceptual basis, to your brain power. Clear? So I think students, now there is no confusion regarding to all topics. As today I have even given I've given some brief about the some basic topics like biasing of diode, and also in case of reverse biasing of Zener and PN junction diode, and also I have just explained the band picture of solids, as I haven't I think explained it in case of topics, so that's why I have just taken it here. So I think there is no confusion regarding to all these topics. So all these topics are it clear. Then let's end the class here, guys. In next classes we will see some next conceptual problems. We will continuously explain and see more conceptual problem, more basic things, more fundamental things. So let's continue it with me, guys. Let's end it today here. Thank you.